Hey y'all, hey y'all, hey y'all, hey y'all, hey y'all, hey y'all, hey y'all. Welcome back, welcome back, welcome back, welcome back to Narrow Forward.
Oh shit!
What? No way! Hey, did it!
Oh shit!
Hey y'all, welcome back to the Narrow Forward MMA podcast, guys. It's only our second episode, and it's one of the most monumental episodes today because, guys, we could be potentially bringing back the return of the pound-for-pound greatest fighter to probably ever exist in mixed martial arts. Jon Jones is set to return to take on Ciryl Gane for the vacant Heavyweight Championship of the world.
Oh.
Guys, Saturday can't come fast enough. Oh my goodness. I don't even care about the fights underneath, even though there's some good fights in there. But guys, today, this podcast, let's just be real, bro. Let's just be real. When Jon Jones is on the card, like, yeah, I love Valentina. She's probably the greatest female. She's probably the greatest female mixed martial artist of all time. But shit, bro. Jon Jones going up to heavyweight fighting against a cyborg machine Frenchman that is,
Bro, but how are you gonna disrespect our boy Shavkat Ramanov, bro? He had Riz this week. I don't know if you heard about that.
Oh, the Lorisenko Riz, bro. Damn, I want that. I want that Shavkat Riz, bro.
How are you gonna disrespect the man, bro?
You're right, bro. I didn't expect the Russian Riz to come through, bro, or the Ukrainian Riz, whatever it is. But I don't know what he's from. But I know he's dangerous and it's fun. But Jason, we know that the beef of this is definitely going to be the beef, potatoes, the whole meal is focusing on the one and only Jon Jones as well as Ciryl Gane. So, Jason, bro, just before we get into the deep dives of each fighters, give me your thoughts on this matchup. Obviously, we had a lot going into this just because of Francis vacating the belt at heavyweight. So, bro, and audience, guys, in the comments below, give us your thought. But right now, Jason, give me your thoughts on this matchup, bro.
Bro, let's just start with just the beginning, right? Jon Jones, last time we saw him fight, it's been a minute. You know, he's been out of the game since like 2020.
Yes.
That was his last fight. And, you know, there was so much talk about him coming back.
Yes.
And then there was, like, talks about him going up a weight class. We're like, okay, I'm excited. Let's see when this is going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
For basically 3 years, we didn't hear anything. There was a little bit of news here and there speculating, but, like, nothing was happening. We're like, man, are we ever going to see the GOAT?
Yes.
Because let's not forget, there's a lot of controversy with that statement because, you know, he had some stuff that he did in the past.
Yes.
But let's be honest. He's the GOAT, bro.
Yeah.
He is the GOAT.
Hey, look, bro, let's be honest. When it comes to mixed martial art, that's all we got to focus on right now. Because, look, we recognized, that Jon Jones may be the greatest fighter, but he's also very flawed, man. Dude, we saw last year in Vegas, he ends up getting a Hall of Fame inductee for his fight against Alexander Gustafsson, which, again, he said he didn't even train for and partied the night before and did hella drugs or whatever. Like, he did all the 9 yards except prepare for that fight and end up getting a Hall of Fame fight. That's on his worst night. So, like, you know what I mean? But also, at the same time, he's getting honored for it. Another worst night happened for him, too. So, honestly, if just on high level, like, even the best of us have got demons, and Jon Jones is the enigma of that because I'm pretty sure, like, his whole purpose, he was basically created, handcrafted to be the greatest martial artist ever, because as soon as he graced the octagon from 21 being the youngest UFC champ ever to now attempting to be, once again, reclaim that pound-for-pound status, not just in the UFC, but probably across. I can't do exactly, bro. Like, just that's like imagining like something like Gervonta Davis going up and beating the shit out of Canelo or something like that to taking title or something like that, bro. Like, and that's just in boxing. Like, we're talking like, let's go if they can scale that to heavyweight. Like, that's like Canelo going up to heavyweight. That's crazy.
Yeah.
Thinking about that, absolutely. Right?
No, it's crazy to me because I think this is the first time where he's actually challenging himself because that was one of the reasons why he hadn't come back for a while. It was because he wasn't really he felt like his last few fights towards the end of like 2020, they were very close.
Yes.
And I think one of the reasons he was saying that they were so close is because he didn't have that fight in him, to want to that scare or the what is the word for it? Like
the motivation, the fire.
Motivation, the fire, right? Because this is going up to heavyweight is something completely different for him. So he was like, I wasn't really feeling challenged anymore fighting these lightweights.
Right. And
like you said, he was barely like he was going to parties and stuff to fight Alexander Gustafsson. So
right.
That's crazy to me. I'm like, wow, this guy literally did that. And the night before he was literally partying, which is I don't know how. But but that tells you, right? He wasn't like as motivated to like really fight anymore. He was like, oh, these fights are kind of just
Yeah.
light work,
I mean,
and
okay. Well, to be fair, I mean, okay. Well, I remember seeing that fight against Dominic Reyes, bro. And I'm gonna be honest,
okay,
like
that
you
yes,
could you
yes.
could okay, and let's be real, right? He could say that, but though some of those young up and comer guys were given a run for his money. Now, to be fair,
Oh,
let's look at some of those fighters now, right? We look at Thiago Santos, like he's getting these close fight decisions now. He was supposed to be this crazy brutal kickboxer who has the strength. Don't get me wrong, but he ends up like now Jamal Hill made kind of quick work of him later on. Kind of got the path for a guy with who's supposed to be this world breaker, right? And then we look
right,
at dude, we saw him literally big brother. What was it, Lionheart? You know, that's like
yeah,
Anthony Smith is
yeah,
like a great analyst, and he's become a better fighter since. Like I remember his fight with Spam, but remember this John Jones like was big brothering him, checking distance at range, putting his hands up and stuff like that, bro. So like, I mean, if we look at some of these fighters now, like yeah, I mean he didn't get a chance to fight like what was it, Yuri Prohaska or some of these
right.
crazier names, but even so, like I feel like he still has that impact at light heavyweight because everyone else, because the division is so stacked at light heavyweight that this belt just keeps changing hands, bro. Like in
Right.
the last year, like last couple of years, it's been probably 3 or 4 different people after John Jones that has gotten that belt in rotation, right?
Yeah.
Which speaks to how good John held down that division because any of those younger bucks may be more skilled now, right? But even so, they still had that power and tenacity, and John Jones was still cutting weight and holding his own against them too. So, but even
Right.
so, like those some all it takes, I think, is though someone to have like to be able to take that punishment that John Jones could, bring down. Then you have those fights that
Mhm.
are really close, like Dominic Reyes. I'd have to go back and rewatch that even more in depth to really get my analysis. I just remember at the time I was hanging with my boy, eating a nice big steak, being hella pissed that like, oh, I thought Dominic Reyes definitely won. That wasn't the GOAT performance John Jones brought. That being said, though, John Jones has had a layoff since that fight, right? He vacates the title and guess what, bro? Every time John Jones has come back from a layoff, he's ended up showing some crazy performances, bro. And this is also a dude that's bulked up and muscled up, even though like the memes
Mhm.
are coming about him being fat or whatever, right? Which fuck you guys for
Wow.
for fat shaming, right? Some of the best fighters there are chunky boys. Derek Lewis, Tai Tuivasa, them chunky boys holding it down, bro. Bro, Chris Barnett, he basically Kung Fu
Yeah.
Panda. He's my guy, bro. He's representing. There's nothing wrong with being a little chunky, but John doesn't have the 6 pack. He looks good, bro. I'm gonna be honest.
He looks
Like
dangerous.
he looks
He looks
crazy, bro. Yeah, he
dangerous.
doesn't have the abs, but I'm seeing his comparison from muscle density on his arm to what he looks like that light heavyweight. Like if he was crazy and crisp, even towards the middle and end of his career at light heavyweight, if he's with the muscle I've seen, and if he even has a close to what he had at light heavyweight, he's gonna be a problem for the division regardless of Ciryl Gane or not. You know what I mean? So like,
Right. Right.
yeah, I mean,
But
yeah,
but I think it's but like even though I actually don't understand why people are fashioning him because he was super built at
yeah,
what one at 205, right?
yeah.
So you can't be any more built if you're gonna put on weight.
Right,
Like he
exactly.
has to build a muscle and he's gonna look a
Yeah.
little bit bigger.
And he could, I mean, if
But
anything, like, yeah, he has a little, no, that's not even a tummy. It's more like, bro, like, he's not doing ab crunches as much, but I've seen from the embeddeds, like, he's probably swimming. Have you seen his bench, bro? Some of his stats on the embeddeds and stuff kind of,
315,
I
dude.
saw
It's
that
like
shit.
315.
I was like, bro, I saw him just in the embeddeds, like, 3 plates on each side, just going 5. And he's like, hey, before camp, you couldn't even do this half and half, and now you're just going, like. And I'm just sitting here, like, bro, like, he may not
That is
look like
insane.
he doesn't have to look like Mr. Olympia to be a world beater. You know what I mean, Mr.
Oh,
You know what I mean? Like, and dude, like we've seen fighters like chonky boys like Chris Barnett. Like, what was it? The big ass Russian dude. I forget his name, but he's dominating the heavyweight division, right? Spivak? No, not Spivak. He's a big ass. You know what I'm talking about? That big blonde dude. Even so, like these dudes aren't like fucking like enormous fat ass people, like
right,
there's
right.
some of them are big, yes, but this is fucking like the weight limit is 265, you know what I mean?
You mean
Like
Sergey
yes,
Pavlovich?
yes, I believe, yes, him, dude's huge, monstrous,
He is,
crazy,
yeah.
crazy, bro. But yeah, I mean, that was just a little tidbit on kind of our thoughts on it, but like that's just on the John Jones build up part of it. Let's look at Ciryl Gane coming off his last fight, right? He's coming off a loss against Francis Ngannou, which kind of adds that little asterisk about this whole thing, right? This isn't like, oh, current heavyweight champ Ciryl Gane coming in, right? This is the Ciryl Gane that just lost to Francis, he was a huge part of the huge storyline about Francis Ngannou exiting the UFC. Ciryl Gane was the guy who trained with him before, was supposed to be the more dangerous guy, ends up losing, and now is coming in, which I feel like you could argue being like it's sloppy seconds. Francis is sloppy seconds in a way, and I'm not to disrespect Ciryl Gane, but this is just kind of
Right.
how I see it because like look, ultimately if you're the UFC, you're hoping Jon Jones wins because guess what? That super fight with Francis Ngannou seems a lot more likely in that super fight
Yeah.
for a championship belt. Crazy, and against Jon Jones potentially crazy, So Ciryl
Yeah.
Gane in regardless of this performance, he has to get a crazy performance to really show that like not only am I still around at heavyweight, but even if you have the best version of Jon Jones out there, I'm still the guy that's gonna put these homies to rest. Like he's got to make
Yeah.
it like
No.
like it's crazy. Jason, let me know your thoughts, bro.
No, I think I'm not saying that Ciryl Gane doesn't deserve this or anything like that because he
Yeah,
did, even though he, like you said, he did lose to Francis Ngannou, and he was still like the number 2 guy.
yeah,
He really only fought Tai Tuivasa, and he beat him,
yeah,
but I think he still deserves it because he was the one of the better fighters out
yeah,
of the heavyweight right now.
yeah,
And I think in this fight, like you said, he has to really show like how much he has improved, specifically in the wrestling, because that
yes,
is going to be. I feel like that's going to be a huge factor in this fight.
yeah,
I know we haven't even gotten into that part of the part of it yet, but
yeah.
he needs to really show like how much he has learned because there's also been a lot of talk about him not really taking
So
his
serious,
what is
right?
it, training seriously. He
Yeah,
kind of takes a break and he doesn't really train unless there's a fight coming
yeah,
up.
yeah.
That was some of the news that was coming up.
That was there,
And
but let's talk about that for 1 second, right? Because to be
yeah,
fair, even though it's like wrestling between camps, if you look at the strength of schedule he's had, like I'm gonna pull up Ciryl Gane's strength of schedule right now, bro. Like, yeah, he technically is not, he says he takes breaks, but if you look just back in 2019, 4 fights in 2019. COVID happened.
right,
Okay, everyone's resting. 2021, 1, 2, 3, and then he's already had 2 fights. He had 2 fights in January 2020. Too. So like in 2022 as a whole. So in terms of strength of schedule, dude, he's had 4 fights in 2019. Most people will get 3 guaranteed. He was able to pull off like 4, bro. Right. So
right,
like
right.
if you're talking about like resting between camps, sure, but as you go up the division, you're not taking these short notice bouts like that, right?
No, you have to take it
Like
seriously. Yeah,
right,
you don't
exactly. And
want
a lot of times, like he's becoming like main event top in main card status for a little bit now because of how spectacular he performs. So I mean,
to. Right.
I mean the exact. So like I would push
He
back against the narrative, but I obviously if you're seeing the embeddeds and you're seeing the tweets and everything, like when Ciryl Gane's playing games, well, playing FIFA, Jon Jones is watching footage of Ciryl Gane. Like if you're looking at it like
or
that, then
training or just
yeah,
building a muscle. Yeah, yeah.
yes, yes.
No, no, but I he did. I think he did like talk about that in one of the
Mm-hmm.
embeddeds or something. He was saying like, uh, I think he was saying like, I need to make sure my body's rested for these big fights,
Right,
and
exactly.
not overdoing it and being able to rest the mind or something along those lines, right?
Right, right.
Which it makes sense. And like you mentioned, it's when you're leveling up and you're going up into these top 10, top fives, you can't just be, you probably won't be able to fight 4 times a year.
Exactly,
Like
exactly.
realistically, it's going to be like 2, maybe 3.
Right.
So it's normal, and he needs to rest up and make sure his body's good
Mm-hmm.
for this kind of fight. Jon Jones, like let's not forget, this is not like one of those take it on the last minute or you know even though he said like he rested up, I'm assuming he's taking his training seriously.
Yeah, bro,
So
like this is his second championship fight back to back,
right,
Or I'm sorry, he
right,
fought Ty, right
yeah,
before, but even
second
so,
chance.
yeah, exactly. So like obviously he's not gonna slouch. And if you look at his record before, and I think Jason, we can kind of segue into the technical parts of this matchup, right? Let's start
Right.
with Ciryl Gane and the technical parts of it. If you look at his like this says strength of schedule, like he's only had 1 loss in the UFC, and who is that to? Francis Ngannou. And every
Mm,
other times it's either been a knockout or submission win out of his 11 fights. So 8 finishes. That's 8. What was it? Like, at least 8 finishes, right, bro? Like that's what I'm saying. Let's look at it, right? Submission, TKO, sub. 1 decision. Okay, 3 decisions. Okay,
no,
4 decisions. But out of like the 12 fights he's had, most of them are finishes, bro. So this dude is certified dangerous, right? And I'm not. He doesn't have. Let's be honest. I don't think he has that Francis Ngannou one punch knockout power, but once he
no,
starts licking combinations on you, there will be a chance he'll catch you and drop you. right?
Yeah.
And that's the thing, right? If we're gonna talk about like some of the beauty of Ciryl Gane, you're talking about someone that has like is nearly equivalent level of kickboxing, so it's Alex Pereira, but that can move like him in the heavyweight division, right? You have a
Right.
dude who's such great movement for a heavyweight that people think he could fight at lighter weight classes, no problem. He looks like he fights at lighter weight classes for how well he
Mhm.
moves at heavyweight, right? He great
Mhm.
lateral movement, bro. Even when he's caught, he's able to adjust the movement accordingly. He's had submissions over him. So Jason, you brought up the point about the ground game. He has the 3 submissions on him. He has I think he had a leg twister finish as well, or some
He
crazy
did.
shit
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
that,
Yeah.
right? And that's crazy. Is he gonna get that on Jon Jones? Probably not. Let's be real. I'm gonna put that out there right now. But when we talk about Jon Jones as part of it, you'll see why in a moment, right? But we look at just the striking diversity that Ciryl brings, right? Not just a regular kickboxer, how he's kind of improved that over time. So I saw a beautiful combination where he fought against Derek Lewis, which is, by the way, a Derek Lewis that was coming up to, that was on his title run and ends up losing
Right.
in his hometown, which is crazy. The Houston curse started, I think, there, right?
The
But
curse.
yeah, the curse of fighting in your
The whole
hometown.
curse.
But yeah,
Yeah.
so yeah, you see Derek Lewis folding to a guy like him because Ciryl Gane's able to like get close, even though like he's one of those crazy heavyweights that like he's willing to go and tie to Ivas. He's able no, let me correct that. He's able to get into these heavyweight ranges, put his
Mhm.
plan, and then skirt out beautifully because of his speed and his movement and footwork. Because there are plenty of times in some of these fights, like let's take for example his Tai Tuivasa fight, a fantastic fight, bro. One of the better pieces of content we put out there because how crazy that fight was. You know, like
Right. Right.
we see that fight, and you know we see. I'm trying to remember some of the clear details, right? We see Tai Tuivasa like swear just swing and bang.
Right.
He gets and then Ciryl gets rocked by him once, right? Ends up showing that great recovery from it because when a lot of people get hit by Tai Tuivasa, they're going down. Ask Derek Lewis, bro. Like
And they're
he'll
flustered, and then
yeah, exactly. He ends up rallying himself back up and then establishing, okay, we can bang for a little bit, but I'm so good at this, I'm going in and out, which is that great
Mhm.
kickboxing and great movement, that striking movement he shows in there, right? To the point where they're like, boom, like he'll throw enough heavy strikes with his jab, which by the way, that jab is a stiff, heavy jab, bro. For a heavyweight to be as fast and as heavy, like he doesn't have to knock you out if he can just jab you over and over again, and then boom, sets up all his other stuff from the jab, right? Knocking you, like he's
Mhm.
pushing you with that jab. Then the moment you start getting agitated, you overcommit to a swing. He steps out of range, and then boom, that's how he was able to get a lot of the better sequences against Tai Tuivasa, which ultimately led him to the finish. Because the overswinging, overcommitment to some of these heavyweight guys, regardless, when you put some pressure on them, they'll go to default, go, oh, Big Mo, fucking let me slam and swing and bang, and then boom. Ciryl Gane shows that I'm playing chess while you guys are jumping around like you're playing checkers right now, dog.
Right. Right. I think one thing to really look at for Ciryl Gane is actually his mix up of how
Yes.
he throws punches, his kicks. He's
Yes.
very versatile in his action and how he throws his punches or his kicks. Right.
Yes.
If you look in the Francis Ngannou fight, there was actually, I know he might have lost that fight, but in the first 2-3 rounds, he was actually doing really good,
Yes.
mixing up
Yes.
mixing up his kicks, mixing up his punches. He was landing. He
Dude.
actually landed like a head kick on him,
Yes.
like a
Yes.
small, yeah.
And I bet
So
and we saw how those head kicks would get on Tai Tuivasa. That homie
mhm,
literally wobbled like he was a worm. And then Francis ate that shit, which again speaks to how fucking crazy Francis Ngannou is. Homie is a
right,
superhuman. Just throwing that out there.
yeah, yeah.
Fucking
But
Avengers ass
that
character.
the Hulk out, he's the Hulk. But like the mix up, that's I think that's really important for his game because he doesn't just throw one or two things. He's always mixing it up.
Right.
He'll throw it. Man, the Tai Tuivasa fight, the big difference in that fight was the kicks to the body, bro.
Yes.
The
Yes.
body kick messed him up, and he noticed that early. He started doing it, and he noticed like, okay, this is affecting him.
Yeah.
So he didn't go away from that. He kept doing it, and
Yeah.
I think that's actually really what won him the fight.
Let's talk about it. One of the reads that Ciryl Gane does beautifully is that to oh my god, it's so juicy seeing that, and I'm pretty sure the Joneses camp has picked up on it too. But Ciryl Gane
Right,
does this great thing. He'll start throwing stuff to the body, to the head a little bit. He'll start looking down, and then your opponents will start. Tai Tuivasa would look there. Where's he looking at? Head kick out of nowhere. Out of nowhere, bro. He was just look, boom, throw a head kick. He gives you so many different looks that as a fighter, you're looking for these different looks so that way, like, you can anticipate, plan ahead, and also, most of all, don't
right,
get knocked the fuck out. Because
right,
you
right.
miss up a read or a feint wrong, it's night night. And and if you look at all these finishes that are on the feet from from Ciryl, a lot of that is because you see some of the shit like, okay, look down, boom, throw a head kick, and he'll set something that up where it's like, okay, he's looking down, I'm a block up top, he's gonna rip it to the body, and then when you're thinking, then when you think he's gonna go to the body, boom, he's cracking you on the head. He's so good at setting up one or two patterns, and then as soon as the fighter even begins to think or catch on, he switches it up so beautifully, which shows such high level cerebral thinking into a fight where it's almost like clockwork, or like just like a muscle memory to where like, bro, like I just know how to do this when you're in my range. As soon as you step in, I'm giving you too many different looks, and before you can even think about striking me, I'm putting you down. I'm doing what I can.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and Jason, you brought up the great points about some of the body kicks. Ciryl Gane has such a good job of doing these little teep kicks, right? Little kicks to the leg, little front kicks to the body. Someone like Tai Tuivasa that's got a lot of, let's call it heavyweight tank muscle, right? This is going nice. Heavyweight. Let's call it
extra muscle.
Yeah, let's call it the what was it? The mixed chicken muscle, right? We'll call it the mixed chicken muscle, right? The family muscle chicken, whatever you want to call it, right? He all these big guys at heavyweight have such a big core. Of course, someone like Ciryl Gane's gonna throw something like that, right? Those little body kicks, those little kicks, little teep kicks, a little pressure, just to keep these guys off him, and then to keep them thinking. Because, bro, again, he'll still incorporate that look down below, like he might go for a takedown or something, or that he might, throw overhand or something, boom, teep kick to the stomach. And the moment you see another look down, he's gonna do a teep kick, hey, gone. Like you're getting, he sets up those little things so well.
Yeah, no, I think one of the things that I really enjoy watching about him is that he, if anything, like if the fight is going like getting hyped up, or like even like in that Tai Tuivasa fight, right?
Yeah.
We kind of mentioned this already, but I just think it's super cool to see how he's able to handle the pressure. Like,
yes.
Tuivasa, remember he knocked him down.
Mm-hmm.
He was able to get back up and not fall into that pressure.
Yes.
And get flustered.
Exactly.
He has very good fight IQ. I think.
Yes.
And the crazy thing is, he only started MMA like 4 years ago.
Exactly.
Like, it hasn't been that long, so he's learning fast.
Yes.
And I think for someone that literally started 4 years ago, to be able to handle that pressure of getting knocked down and being able to not get flustered, but still be able to, find your bearings and, do what you need to do to just recover fast and be able to, keep going with what your game plan is amazing. And in this fight, bro, it's a high chance that there could be some craziness happening with Jon Jones.
You definitely can see it from Ciryl Gane. I remember one moment in the Derek Lewis fight. He's ripping up, like he's throwing some punches in the clinch. He ends up throwing an elbow. Ciryl dodges it to this side, and all of a sudden, Ciryl Gane pulls an elbow from behind him, hits Derek Lewis. Derek Lewis is stunned, and then boom, more elbows, and he keeps going, bro. And I'm like, bro, that creativity that in that striking, you can't just that shit is. I don't know if you can really teach something like that, or rather, he learned it through blood. Like I don't know, like.
I don't even. Yeah, that's the thing. It doesn't make sense to me because, like we said, he's literally only started this MMA. He only started 4 years ago. So how do you teach someone that, just recently just learning MMA, like these cool tricks? Like
I think it's being so coachable. It's being coachable, bro. It's being coachable, and then once you follow the game plan, that's when you can start being creative, bro. Like, it's reminiscent of these guys like Max Holloway, bro, where it's like, when you see them at work and that they're flowing at their best, and when they're dominant, they're going to try some crazy shit, bro. And I'm like, when I saw that, I was like, bro, like, as much as I love the hype that Jon Jones has brought all these years, like, we can't ignore some of these little things that, like, yes, we saw Francis expose the grappling game in him, but the only reason why that was exposed is because the striking game was so hard to go up against. You saw that, like, unless you have Francis Ngannou's level of strength and durability, some of those kicks and punishments that Ciryl Gane's going to throw at you are going to be... It's a rough day at the office, and honestly, Tai Tuivasa is probably can be, I guess, the closest thing in the division that I can think of that could kind of hit as hard as Francis, but yeah, they're not as durable as you saw. Tai Tuivasa is tough as fuck, right? But guess what? Once Ciryl had his way, it was over, But then you had someone like Francis impose that. a guy who's again. Francis Ngannou's story is very similar. Not even a kickboxer, bro. Like he was sand mine dune guy, right?
Right.
Dude trying to run away. Dude trying to find a better life for himself. The true immigrant story, bro. Like he wasn't even fighting. He wasn't fighting martial arts. He was fighting for his life. That dude
Right.
with that grit, determination, and obviously genetics and craziness as well, like was able to put that on someone like Ciryl Gane. But again, like I prefaced before, both have similar stories in that sense, right? But again, like there's a flaw that got exposed, and that was the part that Cyrill's probably gonna have to work on the most, is that clinch game against these dudes that could probably manhandle him a bit better, as well as a technical, like, yes, he's got the submissions on his side, he's got 3 subs on his side, which is great, but again, I'm pretty sure he doesn't have a black belt or has traditional like grappling training like that, right? He's mostly a kickboxer, so he's gonna
Right.
that's one aspect of the game is glaringly obvious, but in terms of striking, he seems like almost a perfect candidate. But Jason, this is the part where I think we should talk about Jon Jones then, because everything we've said about Ciryl Gane, let's be honest, a lot of people have already said this about Jon Jones and more, because this dude set the standard of what it means to be one of the best to ever do it, right? So yeah, I mean, if we want to go into it, right, let's just talk about we ended off Ciryl Gane's little bit discussion with the wrestling part of it. Jon Jones was a wrestler that turned and developed his striking level to become a whole 360 part of the game, to become probably the most perfect martial artist ever, where he's deadly in all aspects of the game. He finishes you on the ground, on the feet, in the clinch, anywhere the fight goes, he can take it there, and anything you've seen in a fight, he's already saw and anticipated and countered against. If there's something you're good at, Jon Jones makes his mission to be better at than you, and to make sure you know that shit too. So, Jason, bro, give me your thoughts on Jon Jones' skills and aspects and what he has going into this fight.
Well, let's just start off with, like just like you just mentioned, right? He was a wrestler first.
Yes.
He was not an MMA fighter first. He was a wrestler first, and he took on MMA.
Yes.
He learned all the new skills. He learned, like, I feel like we were just kind of talking about Ciryl Gane's teachability and how he's able to learn.
Yeah.
Jon Jones has the exact same thing, I think, because the way when you watch him fight, like, you see wrestlers, a lot of different wrestlers fight, right?
Yeah.
Some of them, they only use wrestling. Like, for example, Colby Covington, right?
Right.
He was a wrestler.
Yeah.
All he did was that's his thing. That his thing is cardio and wrestling.
Right.
Jon Jones, he could have easily just been doing that too.
Right.
But I think what he does different, and what I've noticed in a lot of his fights, he mixes it up.
Yes.
He's always, he's mixing it up with the punches, with the kicks, and then when you don't expect it, goes for the takedown.
Yes.
And the thing is, for someone that's just a wrestler, he's so good on his, not even just a wrestler anymore, but for someone that was known for his wrestling, he's so good on his feet, on his feet.
Yes.
Like his striking, his elbows, his knees, everything.
Yes, bro.
Like let's look at it, just his resume, right? What he's able to do, okay, for example, this is a lot older fight. I don't know if you even saw this fight, but Jon Jones versus Rampage Jackson, right?
Yeah.
That was a fight that happened. I could look it up right now. That was probably a long. Well, he's fought for so long that I don't even know when that happened.
Yeah.
But basically, he was able to put him down so easily.
Yeah.
And that's because he's just so good with his striking. That's why he's the GOAT, because he's so good. Like, for someone to be a wrestler, to be able to do those kind of things to people.
Exactly.
And Daniel Cormier, right? That was supposed to be a challenge for him.
Yes.
That was supposed
he
to be,
called him his greatest competitor, bro.
Right. That was supposed to be like a hard challenge for him. But what did he do to him?
He out-wrestled him. He
out-wrestled the wrestler.
Yes,
the
bro.
wrestler.
Dude. And remember, this is Daniel Cormier that was double champ Daniel Cormier. The same dude that, who's been through wars, who dethroned Stipe. Like, we're talking about that same dude who's straight up admitted that, Jon Jones is the most talented athlete to ever grace the octagon. Like, that, we're talking about that dude who's that level of greatness to even admit that, bro. And by the way, side note, apparently he's commentating during the fight, too. I can't wait for that part alone, just to see how Daniel Cormier, just to see if Jon Jones is overtaking winning that fight, just to see Daniel Cormier, just to be his reactions, or him being dead silent, just being like, this motherfucker can do anything at heavyweight too? Fuck! Just to see. I don't know if that's going to happen or not, but that's just, I can't wait for that part of it. But yeah, please keep going, Jason.
No, I think they'll be respectful. I've heard like there was like some tweet about like John
Oh, they're
Jones
gonna be
saying like,
respectful in public, but you know the back of John's mind if
yeah,
he
in the
went to,
back, yeah.
he's like, I can do what DC do, but better, bro, or some shit like that, you know?
No, yeah, that might be true, honestly. But yeah, no. Back to what I was saying. He fought DC. That was supposed to be his biggest challenge,
Yes,
and he proved that I can wrestle all day. I can wrestle the best wrestler out there in
yes,
the light heavyweight division, right?
yes,
And that's why this fight is so interesting because we have someone, Ciryl Gane. We saw he had a little bit of weakness in the wrestling game when he
right,
was fighting Francis Ngannou.
right,
And in this fight, it's going to be really interesting because hopefully Ciryl Gane learned from that.
yeah,
But did he learn enough to
yeah,
go against Jon Jones' wrestling?
right,
That's the real question here because Jon Jones has wrestled all his life, and he is putting that extra mass on.
yeah.
So another question, another on the other side though, do you think he put enough weight to be able to have enough muscle to take
Ooh,
down someone heavier than him?
okay,
Because like you said, he's taken down all the light heavyweights.
yeah,
But can he take down someone like Ciryl Gane that weighs 264,
right,
whatever his
right.
weight is,
He's
264?
probably gonna be close to 260 or something like that, if I'm
Right,
correct.
right.
That's a good question, Jason. And before I answer that question, we know that let's talk about John's grappling before I answer that question. If I
Right,
end up
right.
forgetting, just keep reminding me because
I'll get back.
yes,
Yeah,
get
I
back to
got
me on that because I'm an idiot sometimes, you know. Sometimes. Anyway, anyway, when we talk about John's grappling, I had a chance to really look back at some of his grappling exchanges, and you know what I loved about John's grappling? He's not just grappling; he's staying busy.
right,
The dude's
right.
that 84-inch reach can be felt not just standing up, but on the ground too. I've never seen a dude able to throw an elbow that looks like a punch in the air, bro. When he's on the ground, he does this great thing where he can push you down, and he's so long, he can put his whole weight into that elbow that drops you down, gone. He and only real loss he's had, is because he DQ'd a guy. He was a disqualification because he was elbowing the shit out of this
Oh,
guy. That's
right,
how
right,
good
right.
he can be on the ground in that ground control work. Because he doesn't even have to take your back, right? I don't even remember the last time Don took someone's back because he was always on top position, ground and pounding and elbows on there. He's so busy with it, right? So if I were Ciryl Gane, I wouldn't even try to entertain the chance of getting taken down because if you do get taken down, if we're talking about the grappling experience, like you said, Ciryl Gane just started in this. Just Jon Jones has more fights, more title fights, more submissions, more knockouts all way more vast of experience more than Ciryl Gane. If Ciryl Gane represents the new generation of these heavyweight 2.0s, then Jon Jones was the forefather of all of them, bro. In that
Right.
sense, right? In terms of that fast, agile, moving, heavier fighters, because if Jon Jones is able to implement the same activity that he had at light heavyweight with the ground and pound and clinch work against someone like Ciryl Gane, then on the ground, bro, then Cyril I don't even know how because Ciryl Gane doesn't really take damage like that. And if Jon
Hmm.
Jones is able to accumulate that ground and pound damage, just take down once or twice just to threaten that, then Ciryl Gane's gonna have to really worry about that. Which again, these heavier dudes, they're big, and that means their energy conservation, depending on certain sequences, can be gone after a certain amount of time because some of these bigger dudes like Ciryl Gane has great energy management. We saw that in the Francis Ngannou fight, but he ended up getting overtaken by Francis as well because and remember, Francis Ngannou was mostly defensive wrestling. Let's be fair, mostly defensive wrestling to keep him down, grounded to get points or whatever, right? Jon Jones isn't just going to do that. He's going to make your life living hell down there.
Hell, yeah.
He's
Right.
gonna make it hell down there. He's gonna try to keep you thinking about it. Just when you think you're safe on the ground, he'll switch up positions. His limbs are so long that it's gonna be hard to grapple against the guy who's so really proportioned on the ground like that. Where like he can
Yeah.
grapple his body, but if he can able to slip in there, like bro, I don't even want to imagine what Sirgon's gonna go through if he gets taken down. Just because of like if that's the part where I'm gonna be like the weight part which is going to come in because if all is fair and equal then Jon Jones should be okay, but the problem is how is that weight going to affect his cardio at this heavier weight
Mm.
class? He can put on the muscle all he wants, and I've seen him do this training in the embedded the swimming. Those are all great cardio intensive muscular vascular exercises where he's putting in the pressure and for the endurance and all that, right? And but a fight's a
Right.
fight, and if Ciryl Gane is doing those body kicks on you for some reason, right, those teep kicks, those little things, that's that, and remember, this is a dog. John has the dog in him for sure, right? We've seen that in those fights, but that weight discrepancy, like it's not like Daniel Cormier who had to cut down a bunch of weight, then refill up, and then be it heavyweight where he's like, I have more control over it. I have the cardio to last, right? Jon Jones has never fought at this heavyweight class, and again, he may feel good training in the octagon when he's training or whatever, right? Against some of these other former and current PFL fighters and former UFC fighters, like, and don't get me wrong, it feels good and great during those situations, sure, and he's had more title fights, so I'm not think the nerves or anything like that's gonna add to his stress or to his body or anything like that when he gets into the ring, but again, like, you go to rounds 3, 4, and 5. That's a different fight when you're at heavyweight, especially if you end up making it there, not getting finished, and both of you guys end up putting your game plan together. Two of you guys take a decent amount of damage. Remember, both these guys can strike. Maybe Ciryl Gane can strike technically better, but Jon Jones has had enough fights to where, like, I'll strike you when you're about to escape me from the clinch. I'll kick you anytime. Like, those little things will add up over time. The first ground sequence that happens, like you said, that's going to really determine that weight part, because yeah, I'm pretty sure Jon Jones can. You don't have to be heavier than the person to take someone down. It's about that skill level, and Jon Jones has been able to do that. He was able to do the Daniel Cormier. I think he'll be okay taking down Ciryl Gane. The question is, will that gas tank be effective when they get to the ground? Because yeah, Ciryl Gane's not going to just be a dead fish in the water in the ground. He's going to try to defend himself and try to keep busy, sure. But Jon Jones is. He's gonna. I'm pretty sure once Jon Jones hits to the ground, that killer instinct's gonna kick into like, all right, elbow stuff, and that's when you see that light heavyweight vintage Jon Jones probably come out. But that's the problem, is that he has to make that adjustment physically and mentally for heavyweight to where, like, okay, you can try to rain ground and pound punches, but if Ciryl survives and the round's not over yet and you're tired and Ciryl Gane was just defending the time, guess what? Some of those looks are going to be hard to catch. Some of those punches and combinations are going to be harder to get out of the way of. And Ciryl Gane's he's got that movement on him. So really now we have an issue of, at this weight class, even if Jon Jones can implement his takedown defense and you can implement his game, even if Ciryl Gane has takedown defense, like, if Ciryl Gane has good takedown defense and Jon keeps going for those takedowns because he has no chance in the feet, for example, then and Cyryl's taking him down, is defending them really well, then guess what, bro? That weight, no matter how much muscle you put on, you're gonna feel tired, and that's when like Bones and the dog's gonna have to come out. And I feel like you need to save that for rounds 4 or 5 if it makes it towards there,
Yeah.
And that's the part where it's like, like, that's gonna be a rough night, and that's the problem. Is that's the only X factor in this, because if we're going by skill for skill, I'm going to be honest. I think Jon Jones on paper is probably better than Ciryl Gane in pretty much almost all aspects. Now, it's just because the amount of experience Jon Jones has had in the octagon, where he's able to anticipate a lot of these other crazy things that are going to happen there, right? But again, that weight... Oh, my shit's shaking. That weight is going to be such a big X factor, because Jon Jones can feel great, good, dandy, all he wants, but it's like, bro, that when you feel tired, that's just gonna hit you. And if you're both having the question of, who's got the dog in him, bro, like, then that's the part where it's like, why? If I'm Jon Jones, I would not even risk getting it to that point. I would go ham those first couple rounds if you can. But again, I don't know what fight he is expecting. He's the one that has other more championship fight experiences more than anyone. So I don't know, man. Jason, what do you think, bro?
So one thing I do want to say about that, what you just mentioned, the dog in him thing.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
That was something that did come up, one of the questions that some of the people were asking.
Right.
Gane, because every time we see Ciryl Gane, he seems like that guy. Like, oh, he's very nice. He'll fight, and when he's in the fight, it's like, like a sport for him, right? That's kind of what people were saying.
Right.
And I think Brett Okamoto. Is it Brett Okamoto? I think it's one of them. One of them asked him, like, so we know Jon Jones, like, we talk about how he, when he has to turn that switch on to become that dog and to really turn it up, he does it. But can you do that?
Right.
And Ciryl Gane was like, yeah, absolutely, I can do that.
Yeah.
And I think that actually, like you mentioned, that might be a factor in this fight, because I want to play devil's advocate for a second.
Please.
So, when Ciryl Gane was fighting Francis Ngannou, I think one of the main reasons why he was able to get taken down so easily is because Francis Ngannou is actually really big.
Yes,
he's a huge heavyweight.
Yes,
monster. And it wasn't like Francis Ngannou was doing crazy, like, what is it, like judo style takedowns, or he was taking him down just
single leg,
not single leg weight, really, just using more pure his weight.
Yes,
pushing all of his weight onto Ciryl Gane and getting him down.
Yeah.
So, in this fight, do you think that Jon Jones can do something like what Francis did to Ciryl Gane, who is a natural weight is naturally in this weight class, to where Jon Jones is coming up to this weight class, do you think he's able to do those same kind of things that Francis was able to do to Ciryl Gane?
You know what's funny, Jason? Um, let's look at our first podcast when we talked about Volkanovski versus Islam. We didn't think that Volkanovski wasn't gonna have a chance in the world, and by the end of that fight, Islam Makhachev looked like he was about to get his donkey ass kicked in real quick. If there was another round or another 30, 40 seconds, right? And that was because Volkanovski was able to avoid the takedown. When he got taken down, was able to get back up from it. And that was a Volkanovski who like had to learn this trade and who was able to bulk up properly because he was used to the weight before, right? Because of the rugby and stuff, but also had that no fear approach to it. Jon Jones is not going to be scared to attempt that takedown or anything like that. And also, if we're going to be honest, who's the better wrestler between Jon Jones and Francis Ngannou? Jon Jones is the technically better wrestler. Technically a better wrestler, meaning I think he'll be able to, what he lacks maybe in that potential strength, which we don't know about yet, right? We don't even know how strong he really is yet. If he doesn't have that strength, that's where the experience and technique come in and overtake it. Because Ciryl Gane, as an MMA fighter and as one of the excellent kickboxer, he knows that technique is king. That technique matters more than anything else. Yeah, Francis Ngannou had the power, but it's the technique that secured it at the end of the day with the proper placement and everything. Wrestling is all about technique, and Jon Jones was able to go up against some of the best grapplers at light heavyweight as well. Dude, one of his best title fights was his Glover Teixeira, one of the best grapplers out there, and he was able to do that. We talk about Daniel Cormier as well, like he's had his time against grapplers. So Francis Ngannou implemented the grappling because the striking technically wasn't going his way, and bro, when you're down on points, you gotta fix it up. So he had to use all his natural body with all that crazy the physical specimen that he is to bring down Ciryl Gane, right? Jon Jones can only have 50% of that, and he'd only need maybe 10 to 50% more technique, which he already has some experience. I think that's not going to be an issue for him because, dude, if Volkanovski was able to do it against a guy like, a big, huge lightweight like Islam, Jon Jones has been doing it at light heavyweight for the longest time, and I think that he will have a lot of better success. Okay, I think he will have a lot more success later on in the fight attempting that. Let me be clear, because if you do that earlier on when Cyril's so fresh and is probably the most ready for it, then no. But later on, if Jon Jones is the same way where like he exhausts Ciryl on the feet a little bit more, he could probably grab a single leg and Ciryl can try to defend it, but I think Jon Jones is able to defend, not just defend, but implement his game a lot better. He knows about those little techniques, the wizard and stuff like that too, to really like escape the situation or put Ciryl in the situations where once it gets to the ground, he should be okay. But again, the X factor being, like we said before, it's that weight, bro. Like he can, I think that what he makes, if he doesn't have that natural strength for some reason, he's got the technique on his side. But even then, like implementing that technique at with the weight you're at, as with a guy like Ciryl Gane, who is probably working on that wrestling and stuff, it's a lot more harder to ask. But I think I don't think Jones could, make up for that god tier strength overnight, bro. Unless he's juicing again, right? But but let's be real, right? But if not the power, it's going to be the technique that's going to be king in that instance. So I think that I hope that answers your question. But I think the thing is, like, that's what makes Jon Jones so great is not because he was he is a natural specimen as well, right? That crazy reach, but how he implements that is bar none. Like, he is the best use of the tools he's ever had. Like, anyone who has natural gifts, which is Jon Jones, I think he's, out of anyone who's had graced the sport, besides Anderson, I think he's the one who's utilized all of his physical specimenity the best possible way. Where, like, he's using that reach to, like, again, like we've said, you look at that Anthony Smith fight, he literally puts his hand on his head, pushes him back to establish range to where, like, he pops an elbow like it's like a jab range. It's crazy, bro. And I mean, like, if he's even able to be close like that, I remember Ciryl Gane's a lot closer in his reach, than most fighters are. So that's another crazy thing to think about. But in terms of the ground game and wrestling part of it, if he does in the later rounds and he uses the technique properly, Jon Jones is going to have his time on the ground.
Right. I think, while you were saying that, I actually was just thinking about something. I actually think what you were saying is probably true, and I think since he has that technique on his side, like we just said, if we're being honest, Jon Jones probably has a lot more wrestling experience than Francis Ngannou does.
And Francis Ngannou made the difference with using his weight, but also those little techniques to overtake. Yeah. So
another thing I was just thinking about is, we know Ciryl Gane is the guy that mixes up his punches and his kicks, right?
Correct.
I think at some point in this fight, there might be a factor of, Ciryl Gane's throwing a lot of leg kicks,
Yeah.
and John Jones is able to grab the leg and take him down.
Yes.
I feel like that might actually happen in this fight because just while you were talking, I was like, wait, I didn't think about that aspect.
That would be
Ciryl
possible.
Gane, yeah, because he throws a lot of different kicks. He throws a lot of head kicks. So if John Jones is able to catch one of those and then be able to trip him or, whatever it may be, whatever technique he can use
Yeah.
with grabbing one leg, I think it's definitely possible for him to get taken down.
And Ciryl Gane's gonna throw those leg kicks because he's going to try to,
Mix it up.
not just mix it up, but really tamper down on the John's grappling game because a lot of the power to drive for those takedowns is coming from the base and from your legs, you know. So if he's able to take out that base, again, some of those crazy kicks that John's thrown in the past can be neutralized. Some of the knees that John throws can be neutralized as well in that sense. Where then Ciryl Gane can keep it mostly on the feet unless he does something like crazy, which like we'd have an Oliveira style takedown from like Jones, where it's like, oh, you overcommitted. I'm just gonna take your back standing up somehow. I don't know. Again, Jon Jones is great enough to where that's not out of the realm of possibility. He could be the most crazy Spider-Man like heavyweight dude to ever exist in this matchup on Saturday. Like we don't know, right? But I don't know, man. I mean, I mean, those leg kicks are definitely going to be such a huge factor, and I think Jason, we can kind of segue to start closing this out a little bit, where we can talk about each fighter's path to victory. And for me, Jason, Ciryl Gane's path to victory, honestly, is he has all the tools he needs to win this fight because he is the heavyweight 2.0. He's the next generation, the second coming of what it means to be a great heavyweight in the UFC, where he's super powerful, and if you can take him down, he's able to do things necessary, except sometimes there are people that will just be better than him that he's going to have to find a way to beat. But aside from all the tools he has already, there's no reason technically why he should lose this fight. He's fighting an opponent that isn't used to a weight change. He's fighting an opponent that's coming off a layoff. He's also fighting an opponent that, like, in his last couple of contests, the opponent in question says he wasn't motivated. But if you look at closely his performances, you could tell that, like, John could have done more. John could have done a lot of different things more. And that last fight with Dominic Reyes was cutting it close, So where Dominic Reyes was exposing a lot of things, maybe potentially exposing a lot of flaws in John's game that could have been there. But again, you could take what John says, that I'm not motivated, whatever, fine, sure. But what I'm saying still remains that, like, towards the end of that, that's, but again, if you're Ciryl Gane, you don't want to forget that the reason why Jon Jones is the man, the myth, the legend, because of what he's done in the sport. So staying sharp, being able to make those reads, but also being able to neutralize that grappling and wrestling, because both fighters can throw crazy elbows, that crazy Muay Thai, but can he neutralize the grappling that John will bring in those probably later rounds? That's the key. And if Ciryl Gane trained for that, then this could be a crazy fight for Ciryl Gane. For Jon Jones, this is very weird for me to say, but Jon Jones, like the same thing he's the one that paved the way for a lot of these crazy fight techniques. From those crazy leg kicks that people love now, John's was the first one to do it. Those crazy elbows out of nowhere, John's was the first one to do it. If you've thought all those crazy accomplishments that anyone has in the ring, John's has probably done it before, right? So for John's path to victory, it's about exploiting those little things that Ciryl Gane does as a striker. Because remember, this is the same John Bones Jones that's going to study you as soon as the fight's announced. He's probably studied you beforehand. This man's methodical. He's crazy. That's why he's great. And what I'm getting to, Jason, is that in every kickboxing exchange or any striking exchange that Ciryl Gane has, he has a tendency to reset. Jon Jones at light heavyweight is known for keeping the pressure and activity constantly moving and going and flowing. So in those moments where Ciryl Gane is resetting those striking exchanges, Jon Jones can't give him those opportunities to reset. He has to keep him busy, set up those patterns, and then boom, go for a clinch exchange or a takedown to where he can utilize it. Because I know that John is going to try those earlier rounds to outstrike Ciryl because he's the competitor and the dog in him. But to be honest, if the goal is to win the fight, I would maybe just say one round for that, because that's the most dangerous. The first round is where Ciryl Gane striking is going to be really crazy because he's going to be probably at his strongest. So I would probably be like, hey, yo, get ready for that, but also read patterns, set patterns. Jon Jones is really great about, like, remember, Jon Jones has only been training for 5-round fights. He's probably last back half of the UFC. So in terms of training for those 5 rounds, I say utilize that training even more so. Try to see if you can get those rounds maybe to rounds 3 and 4. check him on those kickboxing resets, those kickboxing secret resets, leg kicks, something to keep him thinking about ground exchange. Because the moment you got to make Ciryl worried about every time he throws a strike to where like John's gonna have an answer for me somewhere, and I have to worry about that. Because the moment Ciryl Gane implements a striking game with the leg kicks, those kicks to the body, the look down. Jon Jones also has those same reads, so he knows what he's looking for as well. So it's about honestly whoever sets their pattern first, and I think that as much as I love Jon Jones, I'm gonna go for my prediction, bro. But as much as I love Jon Jones, there's that X factor of the weight, and I mean, I want. Don't get me wrong, I want Jon Jones to win. If as a fanboy, it's more exciting if Jon Jones wins this fight. Comments, you know that too. But if I'm giving my official prediction, I think Ciryl Gane has a lot less work to do in order to win this fight in comparison to Jon Jones. And Ciryl Gane's already really good at every other aspect of the game. It's just implementing it and controlling the fight where it goes and not letting it hit to the ground. And I think that's where Ciryl Gane has. Jon has a lot more work to do than Ciryl Gane does. Ciryl Gane has to just keep doing what he does and tweak and adjust little things and just be smart and be the cerebral fighter he always is. He might. I think he could get it done in rounds 3 or 4 because this is heavyweight, bro. I don't remember the last time there's a heavyweight fight where it went to a decision, bro. Except the grappling fight. So I think Ciryl Gane has what it takes. I think it's most likely going to be a decision, but I could see a round 4 stoppage for Ciryl Gane.
Knockout? What? Submission? What?
I think it'd be. I don't think it's a straight flat out knockout. I think it's going to be ref stoppage, like a ref stoppage. Yeah. Because if Jon doesn't get acclimated by the weight, he's gonna start feeling your rounds 3, 4, and 5. You're big. You're a dude that's carrying that weight, bro. Like, I think it's rounds 3, 4, and 5. And again, I preface, I want Jon Jones to win, guys. If I could pick a fighter to win, I would pick for Jon Jones to win. But I don't have the script for the UFC this week. All right, I don't have it. I don't know where ESPN has their roundtable where they script every sports fights. Every sports things. I know the NFL script was wild last year. The NBA one was wild last year. So if they want to make it wild this year, I'd be like, Ciryl, here's an extra bag. Take the L. Let Jon Jones win. So again, that Francis matchup. You know the script writers, but I'm not the one writing the script, bro. I'm telling you, bro. I'm not writing the script, but Ciryl Gane technically has I think the tools needed to get the job done. So Jason, I go to you, bro. What are your thoughts on this fight? Give me your path to victory. Give me your prediction, bro. Let's let's see what we got here, bro.
All right. So yeah, I guess I'll start with Ciryl Gane. I think Ciryl Gane's path to victory, like you mentioned, is to stick to what you always do. Because in the striking, he's always very disciplined. He doesn't, just go in. He's very calculated with his striking and his kicks. If he can keep doing that, scoring points, and I do want to say one thing. I don't think he, if I'm being completely honest, I don't think he's going to be able to get a knockout or anything like that.
Good, because I hope you're right. I want someone to laugh at me when I'm wrong, because I want Jon Jones to have the most spectacular win of all time, bro. I want it to be the most spectacular win because that Francis matchup is so juicy that I can't. It would be a tragedy that the MMA gods deny us that matchup. Most dangerous man in the world against the heavyweight pound for pound greatest fighter of all time. You can't tell me you don't want to pay for that popcorn, that fucking pay-per-view bullshit.
Absolutely. But I think, his path to victory is just sticking to his game plan of what he does in his normal fights. Because, most of the time, he's always dominant. You don't really... in the last few fights that in all of his pro fights, he's had, 13, 14 fights now?
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
In all those fights, I feel like he...
I think 11... I think it's 12 professional MMA fights. Yes.
Well, okay.
Yeah.
But, at least the more recent ones that we've seen, right?
Yes.
He's always been dominant.
Yes.
There's probably, the only things we've ever seen issues with when he was fighting Francis, and that was towards the end of the fight.
Yes.
Towards third through fifth rounds.
Yes.
And then through Tai Tuivasa when he got knocked down.
He got rocked, yeah.
Rocked. So other than that, you don't see there's not much major weaknesses in his game. I feel like he's always been a well-rounded fighter. He's able to do everything in his striking and even his he's even got submissions on it in his archery, right? So he's very well-rounded MMA fighter. And I think if he just can do what he normally does in his fights, keep distance, don't be able to defend the takedowns really well, and get points from just touching him and being able to land a bunch of punches, kicks, whatever it is, I think he could definitely win that fight.
Yeah.
And I think that's his path to victory. Now, Jon Jones, you know, he is also very similar when it comes to striking. He can also do those same things that Ciryl Gane can do.
Yes.
He mixes it up. One of his famous kicks that I've never seen a lot of people do before, the axe kick.
Yes,
I don't know.
yes.
Yes,
That
I know
fucking
you know. Yeah,
yes, yeah.
that
Yeah.
kick, bro. That is crazy to me because I've never seen a lot of people use that,
I
and I
saw
saw
him.
he used it in one of his. Yeah,
Was it Dominic Reyes, right? I'm pretty sure
I
it was
think
Dominic
so. I
Reyes.
think
But
it
there
was.
was another
Yeah,
kick I saw Dominic Reyes. I'm like, I don't know, John. Sometimes I think you lost that fight, but some days I think you may have won. Fuck.
exactly. But like that's what I'm saying. He mixes it up really well too. So in that point of view, like from the just the striking point of view, it should be a really fun matchup to watch.
Yes.
But the one thing that I am nervous about is the weight going to slow down Jon Jones?
Right. The big
Will he be able
question.
to keep up with Ciryl Gane with his? Because remember we've talked about this. Ciryl Gane is the middleweight heavyweight fighter. he he fights like a middleweight, but is actually 265 pounds, right?
Yeah.
But can Jon Jones be able to do the same thing? Because even though Jon Jones was fighting at light heavyweight, he was fast at light heavyweight. But that's
Yeah.
50 pounds less.
Yeah.
50 to 60 pounds less.
Right.
Now we're talking you're gaining 50 pounds, putting on more muscle density.
Yeah.
Will he be able to keep up and be able to keep up with the speed that Ciryl Gane is able to throw? And
Yeah,
I think
bro.
his path to victory is going to be through being able to get the takedowns,
Hmm.
keep Cyril on the ground, and win by decision. I
Yeah.
think that's the only way he can win this.
Yeah.
There is a possibility of maybe getting a knockout, or a TKO. But
Yeah.
the way Cyril Gane fights, I don't think he's going to be able to
I
be
don't
that
think
easy to get.
Ciryl Gane's not gonna have an opening where it's like, oh, hit my face,
Yeah,
bro. Like it's not gonna
yeah,
happen.
yeah. And he like I mentioned, he when it comes to like recovery, he does it really well.
Right.
So
Right.
I'd be very surprised if he's able to do that. And I guess I will go to my prediction. So I'm sorry, but I'm actually gonna go Jon Jones.
Ooh, ooh. Why? Why? I want to hear it. Let's go. Let's go.
The
Why?
reason is because I think this is a big if though. This is only I'm basing it off of one thing.
Full disclosure.
If
I hope
John
you're right, Jason. Full
yeah,
disclosure.
if Jon Jones can keep up with Ciryl Gane on the feet
Yeah.
and he's able to take him down, Jon Jones is winning this fight.
So you're saying it'll be a matter if he can keep up with him on his feet, it'll only be a matter of time before the ground game becomes in play.
Absolutely, because
Shit.
Jon Jones has really good striking. He
Yes.
mixes it up. We talked about this throughout this whole podcast, right?
Right. Right.
If he can implement that, and if he's able to keep up with Ciryl Gane's speed, and if he's able to bring that light heavyweight speed into this fight,
Right.
bro, he could win this fight. And let's not forget one thing: he hasn't lost a fight.
Yeah.
Let's say
You're right. You're right. None of them are really like L's. They're all like DQs or like Jones lost. No, more like the opponent
yeah,
won. Right. Like it wasn't any of those
right.
cases.
The one L that he has on his record is a DQ
Yeah.
because he was beating the crap out of his opponent,
Yeah,
not because he
and the no
lost.
contest for the picograms thing is basically a joke now. So
No, no, wasn't that
the DC fight, I'm pretty sure.
DC
Yeah,
one?
the
That was a no
picograms.
contest.
But the problem is now by USADA standards, that no contest would probably be a win because everyone now like apparently that standard for the picogram thing has changed to where Jon Jones would have been in the
Oh,
acceptable range anyway if they tested it right now. So I don't know if they'd ever overturn it because that's just a USADA is a dick, so they would never. I don't think they would, but. If Jon Jones wins this fight, you can make a case for that record wipe. Then, bro, that'd be crazy. An undefeated fighter at a heavyweight. Oh my god, that'd be crazy.
but that's what I'm saying, right? He hasn't lost,
Yeah.
so this is his big comeback fight.
Mm-hmm.
He's excited, he's motivated like never before. He's been talking about everything leading up to this fight, and I think he can do this. I really believe he can do this, and I think it's gonna be probably okay, either a decision win for him
Mm-hmm.
or ground and pound TKO.
Okay.
And
Okay. Yo. Okay. I can see that.
if I'm gonna say a round, I'm gonna say fourth round.
Okay. Okay.
I'm gonna say fourth round, a ground and pound TKO, or fifth round decision.
Okay. Okay. Damn, bro. Okay, Jason, that's crazy predictions, but honestly, bro, I hope you're right because I would love for that Jon Jones Francis Ngannou super fight to happen. But the MMA gods are cruel, so we'll see what happens this weekend on Saturday. But damn, bro, we had a good discussion today. Jason, I think we can just to recap for the audience. We talked about some of the big skill sets both these fighters have. What was it? Ciryl Gane being a kickboxing god in the ring, great movement, but can't work on his grappling, which is really the only part that he needs to really work on. Jon Jones, the undisputed GOAT. But the problem is we're coming off a layoff, we're coming off a weight change, and the question is, can he adapt to heavyweight 2.0? But damn, bro, we got some high level points across, bro, and I think, bro, that this was a great discussion and it only made me more excited for this fight, bro. So this dude, this whole year, I'm so glad that I've made it through to 2023 to see some of these crazy fights
Bro,
happen right now, bro.
for real,
The
man.
last pay per view card, we had the pound for pound dispute happen. This time, we're gonna potentially welcome back the light heavyweight king to potentially become the new king of heavyweights, bro. I don't know.
And
This
then
is
right after
crazy.
that, Kamaru Usman, Leon Edwards three.
Oh no!
That's
Even
coming
though
in
we even
literally
in
a
the
week
week no,
after.
and
Yeah.
Peter Yan's fighting the weekend after. Oh, and then the weekend after that fight, which is the Leon Edwards fight. After that, Corey Sandhagen's in a fight too. And dude, it's these fights, dude. March Madness is for sure. Who gives a fuck about basketball? And MMA is the best it's been right now, bro. For real, bro. What you mean college
Oh my
basketball,
god.
bro? Only thing college I'm trying to watch is Bo Nickel wrestle, bro. That's what's gonna happen. That's the only college wrestling I'm watching. Shit, bro. Anything college
Oh my
related. March
god.
Madness, bro. This honestly, bro, I can't. Oh, this card is gonna be so insane, but obviously, like the big beef, what we talked about today is about Jon Jones with Ciryl Gane. Jason, do you have any more final thoughts before we close out today?
Man, I'm looking forward to it, man, and I'm hoping this fight is everything that it's been building up for because
Yes.
we missed Jon Jones and I'm hoping he really proves
Yes, bro. Yes, bro.
yeah.
And then before we go, Jason, we have one more thing we have to predict before we go. The question is, Jason, if win, lose, or draw, if John win, lose, or draw for Jon Jones, will he get arrested again in Las Vegas after this fight?
Oh no.
That's the hardest
Oh,
prediction for
we'll
the.
put money on that too.
If he wins,
All
he's
right,
definitely gonna get arrested after. You know that after part is gonna be
guaranteed,
nuts. And if he loses,
guaranteed.
someone's gonna get beat up afterwards anyway. I'm kidding, guys, obviously, but
Oh.
I just had to
Oh
think
no.
about it. I was like, hold on, what else can we talk about before we go? And that's crazy, bro. Cause hey, bro, Jon Jones in Vegas. The only people that can beat Jon Jones is Las Vegas, baby. That's all I can tell you, bro. Every time that man's in Vegas, bad things happen. That's all. That's all I'm gonna say. So hopefully he has a good night in the fight, and then ends up making headlines for not losing. But if Las Vegas can be an asshole.
Heavyweight
Maybe
championship
the
not
final in the
yeah.
trilogy against Las Vegas is Jon Jones losing to Ciryl Gane. There, that's probably going to be,
Oh my god. Oh god. All
which would
right.
follow my prediction, which is all I'm saying. So hey, but full disclosure, comments, audience, I want Jason's prediction to be true because, like I said, if Jon Jones wins that super fight, Francis Ngannou would be crazy. That would probably happen. Dana White's gonna be like, I have my pride, but I also like money.
Yeah.
And you tell
Yeah.
me you wouldn't want to see that fight? That would do MSG all the way, bro. That would be a super fight of a lifetime, bro. But god damn. But yeah, guys, let us know your thoughts down below. Do you agree with our analysis of this fight? What is your prediction for this fight overall? Do you think Ciryl Gane's gonna get the dub over Jon Jones and finally be the one person that can actually humble Jon Jones? Or will Jon Jones once again prove why he is the GOAT, while he will rise above the rest and really show that the only person that can defeat Jon Jones is himself? Guys, let us know in the comments below. Give me your round predictions. What are your thoughts on this fight build up overall? Is this fight, do you think also, like we talked about before, is this a sloppy Francis Ngannou sloppy seconds matchup, or is this really the heavyweight championship of the world? And let us know in the comments below. Let us know all the things. Guys, before we go, also give this video a like, subscribe for MMA anime content, plenty more on the way. Never bored with Naruto's always hype, so stay tuned for that. Culture Cooties is always hype. Stay for that. We're gonna be putting on Never Bored with MMA podcast episodes in the future, guys. So stay tuned for that. And obviously, get ready for the Saturday because Never Bored with MMA is gonna be hype when that video drops on Sunday. So guys, let us know your thoughts below on UFC 285 as well as the other fights in the card. But mostly, what are your thoughts on this epic main event for heavyweight? I'm your host, George, with my co-host here.
Mason.
Y'all have a good one. Peace.
Peace.